What's up, YouTube, and welcome back to My Almost Acre. And if you're anything like me, you're getting tired of seeing the snow in your raised garden beds and you're looking forward to a nice spring. This is the second video in my garden planning playlist, and with so much activity to cover in the spring, I'm going to focus just on April today. And what makes this video unique compared to others on YouTube is I'm going to give general gardening advice and tips to complete against major sporting events in the month of April. Before we get much further, though, be sure to like this video, check out my channel, and subscribe to check out other things that happen on My Almost Acre. Before we start, let's do a quick rewind. We should have enjoyed an awesome Super Bowl, watched the college football playoff wrap up, got to see the NBA and NHL seasons kick off, and are now enjoying March Madness coming to its conclusion. From a gardening perspective, during the winter, I've been giving my AeroGardens the care and feeding they need. I've reviewed my seed collection and taken inventory. I've done some general planning, looking through some seed catalogs, and I also started a seed starting station, which I have another video on. Whew, I feel busy and I haven't even really gone outside yet. And in April, I advise you to do just that. Get outside and look at what you have. Let's go over the sports this month, though. And April has a ton of things to get excited about when it comes to sports. Baseball has its opening day. The March Madness tournament wraps up with the championship game on April 3rd. Golf finally kicks off its major season with the Masters going on April 6th through the 9th. The NBA playoffs start in the middle of the month on April 15th. My favorite sport is hockey. The Stanley Cup playoffs start on April 17th. And the month of April comes to an end with the NFL draft on April 27th and throughout that weekend. And to switch back to gardening, and like I said, one of the first things to do in early April is just go for a walk in your garden and start to think about cleanup activities. Whether you're watching a baseball game or taking a break from the Masters on TV, assess how much weeds you have, start pulling them. I have some leaves in my garden from last fall, some unfortunate trash that blew into the garden over the winter. I also have some broken pots. Now, this is my fault because I left them outside, but I want to be assessing if I want to keep or potentially toss those. And if you happen to do what I did and left your Christmas tree in your garden bed, it's probably time to toss that to the curb. Once you do a general cleanup of your pathways and weeding and assessing any damage, you want to actually get in your raised garden bed and mend the soil. One of my closing down tasks in the fall is to put a light level of grass and leaves on top of the soil just to kind of protect it during the winter. And this is a good opportunity for the stuff that has not decomposed to mend it into the soil to start fresh this year. While mending the soil, take an inventory of how much more soil you may need, and make sure you have it in your compost soil or plan to visit the local store. Now, funny story and an interesting tip for this next fall. I actually took my leftover Halloween pumpkins, chopped them up, and put them all over my raised garden beds, and I was surprised to see it was absolutely gone in the spring. They completely decomposed, and I would highly recommend it. Another recommendation for early April is to really start to vet your garden plan. By now, you may have decided what you're going to grow, and it's time to take it the next step and decide where it's going to live in your garden. And more specifically, do you want to make any changes from the season before? Example, adding a new garden box, or trying out something new like this bean pyramid I'm going to be trying and doing future videos on. Lastly, on that early April garden walk, I want you to go visit your compost pile. Now, my compost in early April hasn't decomposed as much as I thought it would, so I definitely am going to manage it more closely this month. I'm also dividing it in two piles. A pile that I feel will be ready to go, ready to transport into my garden beds in a few weeks, and a pile that I feel may just need a little bit more time to decompose, but I may grab later in the growing season. And if you don't have a compost pile, that's more than fine, but just plan to make a trip to the store to grab some soil for the year. Now, as the middle of the month rolls around and you're either getting geared up for NBA playoffs or you're a big hockey fan like me and you can't wait to see Stanley Cup playoffs kick off, you want to make sure you're attending to your indoor seed setup. Now, if you haven't started seeds indoors yet, that's okay, but by mid-April, you really want to consider getting that going. You likely lost your window to order anything online because it usually takes a couple weeks for seeds to come. So visit your local store. And really what you want to do at this point is commit. You're going to either buy seeds and start them right away, or you're going to be comfortable with just buying transplants, which is perfectly acceptable to start your garden this year. And lastly, by the end of the month and when the NFL draft comes around, you really want to start paying attention to the weather and your last frost date. Now, some advanced gardeners will have already put seeds in the ground or plants in the ground. However, if you're just starting out or relatively new to gardening, just start to pay attention to the weather and aim to do that in May. Thanks again for joining, and I can assure you the steps you take in April will definitely pay off and make your garden a success this year. From here, I would love it if you can like this video and check out these additional videos above. And also consider subscribing to my channel where I cover a wide variety of things that happen on my almost acre. Thank you.